am on fire, and today I'm doing another review for you. A happy review instead of the last review I did. So today I'm reviewing the Seeds of America trilogy. I only have two of them. This is one that I actually own. This is the first book, Chains. And then this is the third book, Ashes, which I borrowed from my local library. I also borrowed Forge from my local library, but I've already returned it because, you know, I don't need to keep every library book. So this series is by Laurie, I always want to say it wrong, Laurie Halse Anderson, I'm not sure. Anyway, full disclaimer, she is one of my favorite authors. I've been reading her books since I was about 14 or 15. The first book I ever read by her was Speak, and it is still one of my favorites to this day. So, I read these books over the past about 2 months. I started this one during park testing with my students, so that was towards the end of April. And then I read Forge about 2 weeks ago, and I read Ashes this past week. So, these books are about a slave named Isabel and her sister Ruth, and it tells about her experience as a slave / a runaway during the American Revolution. It spans quite a few years. Actually, the book starts in 1776, and then the third book ends in, hold on, let me find the last page. The third book ends in 1781, so it's over 5 years. Now, I don't want to give too much of the story away because I really hope that you guys read this book for yourself, or read the series for yourself, rather. But the first book, Chains, starts out with Isabel mourning the death of her mother. And as a result of her mother's death, her situation in life becomes radically changed. She was originally living with her mother and her younger sister Ruth in a rather safe slavery situation. I mean, slavery, there's no such thing as safe, but it was a better situation than many situations we often read about in literature. It was on a farm, and she had an owner that did care about them. So this owner dies, and she falls into the hands of the owner's nephew, and from there things just get really, really bad. Isabel is sold, and she is sold to a couple living in New York who are Tories. Now, if you don't know much about the American Revolution, there were two sides, of course. There were the Loyalists, or the Tories, who were people that believed that we should stay with England, that the king should be in charge of the United States. And then there were the revolutionists who believed that we deserved freedom, that it didn't make sense for England to be in charge of us and we should be in charge of ourselves. So she is sold to a family in New York that is on the loyalist sides of things, a very rich family, and over the course of the book, she discovers that her mistress, Mistress Lockton, is a very, very horrible person. And again, I don't want to give too much of the story away, so I'm not going to tell you some of, too much about it, but she meets a young man. He goes by the name of Curzon Smith, and throughout this entire book, she gets to know him, and they develop a relationship, even somewhat of an affinity for each other, culminating in this huge event with them. So this book was really well written. It is recommended for middle schoolers or younger high schoolers, so it is a young adult series, but like all of her books, I think it's very relatable, and the story of Isabel really is just heartbreaking. So that's the first book, Chains. The second book, Forge, which again I don't have, but I will post links to where you can buy all of these down below. Forge tells the story of, it continues the story from Chains, rather. So Isabel and Curzon are now at Valley Forge, which if you, again, know anything about the Revolutionary War, Valley Forge was a huge encampment that was probably one of the worst situations in the entire Revolutionary War. American or revolutionary soldiers just had the worst winter on history. You know, there was a lot of suffering. There was nothing good for anyone. And in the second book, Forge, it tells of what happens. Curzon is a soldier now, and Isabel is kind of on her own. So the first half of the book actually is mostly just Curzon's story, which is really interesting because at this point in the first book, they don't talk about him too much. It's from Isabel's perspective. So you get to learn more about him, you get to go on an adventure with him, and then they end up meeting back together. Again, I'm not going to tell you why, and sorry that I'm sniffling. I was sick and still some residual. But I'm not going to tell you, again, what happens in the book. I don't want to give it away. But they end up connecting again, Isabel and Curzon, and further their adventures. Now, the third book, Ashes, again, continues the story of what happens in Valley Forge, and Isabel and Curzon are still together in this book, working together. They are still sharing that weird friendship affinity slash are they going to fall in love. But the nice thing about this book is that that is not a focal point of the story. Whether Curzon and Isabel are going to get together does not matter. It does not matter in the slightest. They're on a mission, they're trying to solve this mission, and this mission actually continued starting in the first book. But again, I don't want to give it away. So they're on their mission, they're doing their thing, and this book ends up with Isabel and Curzon at Williamsburg. And that's in Virginia. Again, if you're curious, you can go there. And again, total disclaimer, Colonial Williamsburg is one of my favorite places. You know, honestly, I would probably go there over going to like Disneyland because I'm a nerd and I love it. But if you do go and find the bread shop. You can thank me later. The bread shop is amazing. Anyway, so this book continues the story. They end up in Colonial Williamsburg, and this is at the height of the Revolution. You know, we all know the Declaration of Independence was written in 1776, but the war kept going for a while. That was just like the, hey, here we are. So this goes through the war to almost the end of it. And you get to continue to follow Isabel and Curzon, and a lot happens in this story. You know, their previous mission is fulfilled, but now they have new things. So, again, and I've said this like 5 times now, I don't want to give away the story, but these books, this whole series was amazing. If you enjoy historical fiction like I do, I love historical fiction. Check these out from your local library. I got these in the young adult section, like I said. This is a great story. I would say, depending on the maturity level, anyone from about 6th grade up will really enjoy these. And again, if you're curious, check out Laurie Halse Anderson's other books. Some of the other stories I've read by her are Speak, Fever 1793, I think it's 1793, Catalyst, Winter Girls. Her writing style, I really enjoy. And the great thing about this book too, I'm going to show you one thing before I let you guys go. So in the appendix of this book, there's an appendix back here. And I actually, as I was going through it, I took pictures because she recommends a bunch of other books that you can read. These are more nonfiction based about the American Revolution, but if you enjoy history like I do, and you especially enjoy history that isn't taught in school because, you know, a lot of what we know and what we actually learn isn't necessarily what happened. But anyway, if you enjoy exploring more about the Revolutionary War, there's a ton of book recommendations in here. And if you're curious about her other books, definitely check them out. If you want me to review her other books, that'd be cool. I haven't read them in a while, but I would love to go back and read them. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like this video below if you enjoyed this review. I tried to share my joy of the story without giving away too much, so hopefully that came through. And please subscribe for more videos. If you have any recommendations for books, I love to read. Currently, I'm reading several different things, and I'm trying to work through stuff on my bookcase that needs to be read. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and more videos coming soon. Hope you're having a great day. Bye!